With the Gate 51, we learned about the space of the self, where if we decide to, we can step into the abyss in our quest to find something more, something bigger than our mundane experience, something that might shatter our whole reality, where we can never look at the world around us the same again. And though there may be melancholy in this energy, so too is creativity and an ability to express yourself as you. When the Gate 42 enters, we move back into collective energy, where it's all about experience and the human way. After the seeds are planted, this energy tends to the garden, fertilizing and promoting growth, with the intention that when the cycle is complete, there will be a sense of maturing, as well as an understanding about what the experience meant. This too is a closing of a cycle, of seeing something to the end, because only after completion can a story be shared about the journey, so others can benefit from what you have learned. It's called the Spiral of Life. Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and welcome to episode 15 of the Mandala of Life, the Gate 42, called Increase and the Gate of Growth. And if you haven't already, please make sure to check out previous episodes of the Mandala of Life, 365 Days to Self-Discovery. For now, let's move into a new energy, one that's all about maintaining growth, gaining maturity, and the eventual closing of a cycle, one that always has beginnings, middles, and ends. From the Gate 51 and the centering circuit that is pure individual will energy, we move to something new, the abstract collective energy, where we come to a place that is all about starting a new experience and seeing how it goes. If there's one thing that can be said, it's that there are never any guarantees with collective abstract energy. And the Gate 42 is no different, and that's why it's always better to enter into any new experience correctly for your type. And if you do enter correctly, the chances of you having the energy to make it to the finish line is much more likely. Found on the sacral, the Gate 42 is one of the 6 format gates that are the beginning of every collective and individual circuit. And for that reason, there is a lot of power in these gates. Formats not only establish an energy source between the root and the sacral, but they also begin a frequency that really impacts the whole circuit. The format 360 is the beginning sequence for the knowing circuit, or the individual energy circuit that comes in a pulse. The format 4253 is the beginning of the sensing circuit, or abstract collective energy that comes in cycles. And the format 952 begins the understanding circuit, or what's called logical collective energy, and that energy comes with focus and concentration. And based on how the formats work, it means that every single gate and channel of abstract collective energy is cyclical in nature. And because of this, there's always a need for finality with any experience. Unlike logic, where repetition is part of the dynamic, the abstract is all about quantity, which means to gain the experience and talent for the abstract comes from an abundance of experiences. And it also means that many of the things that you do, you may only do one time, and then move on to something new. The Gate 42 is one half of the channel of maturation, the 4253. And it talks about balance, development, and growth after something has been initiated. Because of the power of the format energies, the cycles always exist, even when you have a gate that's hanging, or what's considered half of a full channel. When you have a hanging gate, there's a need to have the electromagnetic to begin or end a cycle, which can come through relationships or planetary transits. And when it does come and you begin a new cycle, it's like being on a treadmill that doesn't stop until the program ends. And if you decide to quit before the cycle completes, you'll miss out on the most important part of the cycle, the experience. And if you do quit, you'll eliminate the sense of completion that comes, and also the ability to share what you've learned through your experience after it's completed. By its very nature, abstract energy is considered to be unstable, since there's no predictable outcome, as there is with logic. Which means that when you carry the Gate 42, it's all about surrendering to what happens in the process. There are no guarantees to how everything will unfold, only the concept that you will have an experience. And when we talk about cycles, it's important to remember that beginnings, middles, and endings have no pattern or specific lengths of time for each part. So there can be quicker parts and contrasting much slower parts to all cycles. The key is to always finish what you have started, to reach the end so that you can assess how it all worked out. And the end always comes with some sense of freedom to enter something new. Since reflection is so important here, one experience at a time is usually preferable because if you have too many things happening at once, it can muddy the waters and not allow you to fully appreciate the experience that you are in and not really have a good recollection of what exactly happened. The shadow side of this energy is that you sometimes stay the course too long, to not want to start a new cycle or to let something naturally come to completion. It can be about holding on to a cycle that no longer serves you. The natural progression with this energy is to cycle out of jobs, relationships, and to start new chapters. The ending is not always an ending. For instance, in a relationship, it can be about reaching a new level of maturity or discovering a new dynamic within the relationship, or, of course, the end of a relationship as well. In fact, some people will have a brand new career or a way of life when they reach your Uranus opposition when they carry this energy. Or what might be considered a dramatic change in your life after you have your nodal shift from the south node to the north node subsequent to your Uranus opposition. Because as we already said, the formats in this energy is so powerful that it can affect your whole process in that cycles become a deep part of your life. And that's why it's important to know how your personal cycle works, because it can be really helpful to seeing the path of your life. As with all experiential energy, the journey is as important or maybe even more important than the destination, because when the end of an experience comes, it is in the recollection of what happened along the way that the true gift is contained. With a hanging gate 42, starting new things may feel difficult because you're uniquely designed to come in after a project is started, to bring it to completion. So people who carry this energy can be well suited to jobs like project managers, where you keep the ball rolling, or also someone who closes deals or brings an end to things. Because it's all about maximizing the benefits of the beginnings through either expanding or bringing things to a close based on whatever is needed in the moment. Since we know that cycles are not predictable, when we're waiting for something to respond to, there can be a sense of inertia. Yet it's important to remember that this waiting is required to get the right project or cycle, the one that is meant specifically for you. Because if you take on a project that you haven't gone into correctly and you're not fully engaged, even if you don't like it, the nature of this energy is that it locks you into a cycle until it ends. Getting stuck is normal, and it can also be painful because there's no breaks here. When you're in this type of a cycle, rest only comes when the end comes. And as soon as an end comes, then comes pressure for something new. And since we know that data is the most important part of any experience, quitting midway can feel devastating because it's like whatever you were involved with is somehow pointless. But pushing through the block is important. This is all about staying the course and not giving up, because in reality, you just don't know how it will all end. Another difficult part of this energy, and all abstract energy in general, is that there's always some level of expectation to all the experiences that you enter, which again speaks to the idea of surrendering to what will happen without expectation. And when you do that, you can immerse yourself within the experience and feel all the nuances and parts without judgment, and instead be open to wonder. Of course, it's not an easy feat, yet it's one that will give more rewards than not. The abstract can be some of the most existential energy that we can encounter because it is all about being in the moment, feeling every part of the experience, not moving to the past or the future, but instead being in the present moment where all the action is happening. So if you push through the moments of doubt and inertia and all the feelings that may come up, no matter what the results are, you'll have some level of accomplishment that despite the obstacles that you encountered, you pushed through and came out on the other side. And after you've decided what it all meant, you can share what you've learned with the collective, which is the end game for all abstract energy. And if you decide that there were things that you would like to improve along the way, you can always do it again and fine-tune it, taking into consideration the lessons that you've learned. Or it can be one and done. The choice is always yours. From a larger perspective, this energy is a place where we can find a form of transcendence. Humanity and the experience of being human is built from the collective abstract energy. It's the core of being alive. Transcendence is finding meaning in the mundane experiences in life. And when we can find that within ourselves, there's no need to search for it outside of us because it is us. In every cycle of our existence, we mature and grow and shift the pathway of the next generation. It's all based on the information that we've learned. When all is said and done, only our memories endure. And what we have shared becomes stepping stones for others until they too find their own paths of experience. Here, it's all about the practice of being in the moment, fully absorbed in the process. It is the magic that happens when we are in the experience of being. And in fact, those moments might very well be the purpose and meaning of our existence. And once again, the mandala of life spins, and we learn that after the ending of a cycle, there's a time to reflect on what happened. And when we have discovered the meaning of it all, we can share what we have learned, and the experience that we have gone through becomes part of the human experience and another step in our evolution. And when we see that all endings lead to new beginnings that may be difficult, there's always potential in the energy of the Gate 3 to bring something new that the world has never seen before, a mutation that has the potential to shift the very fabric of the world forever. Well, that's all for now, and I'll be back next week with another episode, The Gate 3, The Gate of Ordering. Until then, take care, and I'll see you again soon.